Hello, passengers, co-pilots, shotgun callers, blunderbuss bellowers, and midnight riders. Welcome to another episode of Full Moon Empty Road. As always, I'm Jeremy, and I'll be your driver tonight. Hope everybody had a great week, and I hope you're ready for another trip. We're going to be spotlighting a particular entity tonight rather than a place. Get settled in for a creepy night. We're going to be hunting black-eyed children. So get in, buckle up, grab the rock salt, and let's ride. We have work to do. And while we're headed there, I just wanted to take a minute and say thank you to everyone for checking out today's episode. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you can find me at the following places. That is FMER Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, Full Moon Empty RD on Twitter, and Full Moon Empty Road on TikTok. If you'd like to support the podcast, listener support is on Spotify for podcasters and Spotify. You can head over to Bonfire and pick up a shirt. You can drop a tip in the Patreon or Good Pods tip jar, or you can buy me a coffee. All links are in the About section on YouTube. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Well, looks like we're here. So let's go meet some black-eyed kids. Please, can we come in? The black-eyed children, black-eyed kids, or BEKs, are supernatural or paranormal creatures that appear as children. Between the ages of 6 and 16, they have pale skin, black eyes, which they generally try to conceal, and are usually seen hitchhiking or asking to be let inside your home or car. Well, I guess that would fall in with hitchhiking, the car part. Tabloids have long covered this phenomenon, claiming that they date back to the 1980s. However, most other sources claim BEK started popping up around 1996 by Texas reporter Brian Bethel. Bethel states of 2 encounters in his ghost-related mailing list. It detailed 2 alleged encounters of black-eyed kids. Bethel himself claims to have encountered 2 BEKs in Abilene, Texas. He also claims a second person had similar encounters in Portland, Oregon. Bethel's stories have become regarded as classic examples of creepypastas and gained such popularity that he published an FAQ, as he said, just to keep with demand for more info about the new urban legend. In 2012, Brian Bethel told his story on reality TV series Monsters and Mysteries in America. He wrote a follow-up article for the Abilene Reporter News describing his experience and maintaining his belief that it was legitimate. Interestingly enough, speaking of creepypastas, keep an eye out Wednesday for a creepypasta on black-eyed kids with a couple of fantastic guest narrators. So look forward to that coming this week. The following comes from the website The Business Standard and TexasHillCountry.com, respectively. They're 2 of Bethel's stories on the black-eyed children. In a snowy town within the middle of nowhere of Vermont, an elderly couple heard the sound of 3 loud knocks on their door. They opened the door and saw 2 children, a boy and a girl. "Parents will be here soon. May we come in?" The children did not make eye contact and just stood there in the doorway. The elderly couple were hesitant, but after a while, they let the boy and the girl inside. The kids settled on the couch while the wife made some hot cocoa, and the husband asked them questions that went unanswered. The wife returned and noticed that her cat was scared and angry with the children. "May we please use the restroom?" The wife looked at the kids and she finally saw them. The children's eyes were as black as a starless universe. She directed them to the bathroom and returned to her husband, who was covering his face with his hands. "Did you see their eyes?" The husband then showed her his hand, full of blood from a nosebleed. The power suddenly went out, and the house turned as dark as the kids' eyes. the wife headed to the restroom and was confronted by the voice of the kids at the end of the hall uttering, "Our parents are here." The kids then exited the house, leaving the door wide open. The wife then noticed that there were two men at the end of the driveway. The men were very tall and slender. The wife waved but did not receive the same friendly gesture. The two men and children then drove away together in one car. The power then came back on a little later after the kids left. Throughout the next week, weird things happened in the house. 3 out of the 4 cats went missing, and the 4th had been found dead in a pool of its own blood. The husband continued to have nosebleeds and finally went to the doctor, where he was diagnosed with a very aggressive skin cancer. What do you think about that first story there? That's sounds a little far-fetched, but then when you're dealing with the paranormal, I guess anything's far-fetched. But so I guess one of the things I noticed is they said the cat was uncomfortable with it and then was like, "Yeah, go to the bathroom." I mean, I don't know if I would, two odd acting children, I don't know if I'd have the guts to let them in my house, you know. Who knows? I've never actually dealt with a situation like that, so I really don't know how I would react. But having ties to the paranormal community, in a sense, with, you know, the investigations I've done in the past, and then how I'm kind of brushing up on the different lore these days, where I've got this this channel, I'm not really, I don't know, I don't know. I don't know if they creep me out. I'd probably be like, you kids got to get the hell on up the road. Which, I mean, I live on a farm, so there's like 3 houses to pass to get up here. So, I mean, if they pass all of those to get here, then there's something wrong. Another part of the story that kind of stuck out to me that I was like, come on now, why would you, you know, or not even why would you, but, you know, kind of wondering about it, is how after they left, the husband started having the nosebleeds, which turned out to end up, you know, it was diagnosed as an aggressive skin cancer. So I guess my question is, if this is a true story, would that have happened had those kids not shown up? Like, was it laying inside him dormant, I guess, or not necessarily dormant, but was that the point in time where it clicks on and the nosebleeds start? And then, you know, of course, if he starts having nosebleeds enough, they're going to be like, all right, we need to go get him checked out. And come to find out, he's still got an aggressive form of skin cancer that's causing nosebleeds. I don't know, but yeah. So we're going to move on to the second story, and let me know what you think on that particular part, you know, that story. But the second story is Bethel's own eyewitness account. He describes and I've actually heard this story before, so I was kind of, when I was writing on this story, I was like, I kind of want to find who, because I couldn't remember, it was Brian Bethel, I couldn't remember the guy's name, but I was like, I remember a story about a guy in a car, and that's what this one kind of leads into. So he describes a late evening out in his vehicle. He had stopped in a parking lot near a movie theater to write a check, and he was so absorbed in that he didn't notice 2 young boys approach his car. He didn't notice until the older boy tapped the driver's side window. Bethel rolled down his window and noted immediately a soul-racking fear, as he describes, though he couldn't understand why. The older boy said that he and his brother wanted to catch a movie, but had forgotten their money at home, so could Bethel give them a ride? They assured him that it wouldn't take long, that they were just 2 kids. They didn't have a gun or anything, you know. I mean, they're just kids. They're not going to shoot him. I mean, I don't know why they would offer up that information unprompted. Bethel found the assurances unnerving and noted that the last showing of the film they wanted to see had already started and would be nearly over by the time he could drive them anywhere and get back. In his recount of the incident, he stated that when he broke eye contact with them, his fear became all-encompassing, and it wasn't until he broke eye contact that their eyes became completely blacked out. The older boy began to get frustrated when Bethel made excuses for not giving them a ride and said they couldn't get into the car unless Bethel said it was okay. After that, Bethel tore out of the parking lot, and to this day, he still stands by that story. And I mean, of course he would stand by that story if it's his story to tell, whether or not it happened. And, you know, I don't think it necessarily said when this happened, but, you know, they have been described, the stories that Bethel has told, as the original creepypastas, or one of the inspirations for it and whatnot. But I don't know. Like I say, I've heard the story before. It definitely sounds far-fetched, but who knows? There's things a lot of us haven't seen in the world that are there. But I can tell you this: if some kid starts pecking on my window while I'm sitting in my car and just like, "Can I get a ride to a movie?" No. Go call your parents, dude. It's 22. You've probably got a cell phone. If you don't, you've probably got a tablet that has Wi-Fi. Walk over to the Walmart, use their Wi-Fi, call your parents. But you're definitely not going to stare at me with black eyes and go, we're going to see a movie. No. No. Anywho, let me know what you think about Brian's second story there. Moving on, during 1 week in September of 2014, the British tabloid Daily Star ran 3 sensationalistic front-page stories about alleged sightings of the Black-Eyed Children, connected to the sale of a supposedly haunted pub in Staffordshire. The paper claimed a shock rise in sightings around the world. Alleged sightings are taken seriously by ghost hunters, some of whom believe black-eyed children to be extraterrestrials, vampires, or ghosts. Now, the vampire thing does make sense, because, I mean, you know, the whole... Or is it ghosts? Which one is it? Is it vampires or is it ghosts that have to be... Maybe it's ghosts. Maybe... No? Because that movie Let the Right One In, and the remake Let Me In. She had to get permission to be able to come in, so... Anywho, you know, the whole... You know, needing permission to get in and whatnot. So, that, to me, that would make sense. That's assuming they exist. Science writer Sharon A. Hill was unable to find any documentation of black-eyed child encounters, concluding that the tales are passed on as a friend of a friend ghost story. Hill considers the legend to resemble typical spooky folklore stories, such as the Phantom Black Dog, where the subject is not supernatural and there may have never been an actual original encounter. Snopes rates tales of black-eyed children as a legend, and cites an Inquisitor article that advised readers to file black-eyed children under the same heading as Bigfoot. Believe it if you like, but realize that there is no evidence of their existence, just subjective testimony that ranges from reasonable to suspiciously fame-whoring. BEKs have also found their way into pop culture. In 2012, the horror film Black-Eyed Kids was produced with Kickstarter funding. Its director commenting that creepy children were an urban legend that's been floating around on the internet for years now. I always thought it was fascinating. A 2013 episode of MSN's Weekly Strange featured reports of black-eyed children. That featured reports of black-eyed children is thought to have helped spread the legend on the internet. So, that's pretty much the rundown of black-eyed children. What do you guys think about the whole black-eyed children mystery? Are there really some creepy black-eyed children out there who are trying to get into your house or your car, trying to, I don't know, murder you, steal your soul? I don't know. So, like I say, I'm not really sure on that one. I've never been fully sold on it, and you know, it's all over pop culture too. Like I've mentioned this a dozen times, but mine and Anna's favorite YouTube channel is Nuke's Top 5, and he's had a couple different episodes that deal with black-eyed children popping up somewhere, and I don't know. It definitely looks staged, but that's the unfortunate thing about these days is it's hard to trust people because everybody, and I kind of feel like I'm calling myself out here by saying this, but everybody's kind of looking for their 15 minutes of fame or their big break to where they don't have to, or not even don't have to, but where their time in the limelight, And I mean, hey, there was a black-eyed kid at my front porch for 3 hours overnight, 4 hours, whatever. I don't know. So, I mean, it's unusual. It's definitely a creepy story too, a creepy, not even a creepy story, but a creepy topic. But, let me know what you think. Feel free to, I guess, because this will be on YouTube, just leave a comment on YouTube. Let me know what you think about them. Or, if you want to give me more insight on your thoughts of it, you can follow me on social media. That's FMER Podcast, FMER Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, Full Moon Empty RD on Twitter, and Full Moon Empty Road on TikTok. If you want to suggest a topic or suggest a short story like from the Stories from the Road segments, you can reach out to me at fullmoonemptyroad@gmail.com. And something you probably noticed last week, there was no episode. I woke up, so Saturday, I finished recording the little short story that was supposed to go with today's episode, and once I got that done, I was like, all right, I think I'm done working on this stuff today. I'll come back tomorrow and get the rest of the this episode recorded and get it out there. And woke up Sunday morning and there was no power to my laptop, and no clue why. I couldn't figure out what it was. I don't know if I just drained it down so bad overnight or what happened to it. I don't know. But, I left it hooked up Sunday trying to get it to get some life to it, and it never would. So I was just like, well, maybe, we got cats, and they sometimes like to attack cords. So I kind of looked at it and I was like, well, it's got some chew marks on it. So I wrapped the whole damn thing in electrical tape and hooked it back up, and it still wasn't doing anything. So I go to work Monday, and I come home Monday evening to find Anna sitting on the ottoman with it, and she's like, it's at 8% right now. It's charging. She's like, I meant to do this earlier today and I forgot, but it's been taking charge ever since. So here's to hoping that maybe I just completely ran the battery dead, and it was like, we're too dead to charge or something. I don't know. Anyway, but it's up and running again, and I'll have this one out, and I'll have the short story to follow it Wednesday. But so do apologize for that. And one thing I got to thinking about during the downtime was how would you guys feel about a Patreon and being able to access maybe an additional short story and the weekend episode a day or two early? Let me know what you think on that. And maybe it would be a monthly cost kind of thing. Let me know what you'd be interested in paying. Like if you wanted to do a Patreon for my content, let me know what would be a proper price range for it. And we'll look at trying to do that. But that's all we've got for today. I appreciate you all again stopping in and checking out the story, or checking out the episode. But let's go home.